that part of our misunderstanding as the Kenyan society and much of the developing world is caused by our distinction between offenses against tangible property and criminal offenses against intangible property. That's where the misunderstanding is coming. And if we perhaps try to scrutinize that space, we will then appreciate that the reason why the police protect you, a private person, from a robber who is taking your TV is because the police must protect you from being deprived of your tangible property. Likewise, a composer of music, a performer of artistic or literary works, a holder of copyright or patent rights, has the same and equal right to be protected by the law enforcement agencies from deprivation of their intangible property. It is property. Intangible property is property like any other. Your TV, your car is as valuable as the intellectual property rights in the music of the composer of that music, or the patent rights of the inventor of an industrial innovation. And I agree fully with my learned senior and the lawyers who spoke after him that we must protect intangible property with the same vigor that as we protect the tangible property. It's property. Because you have something physical, you have land. This other fellow, his property is in the knowledge which has enabled him to sing better than the rest of us. That is his property. The same way, you using your money, you have land, the other person doesn't have land, we protect your land. So likewise, we must also protect the intangible property. And therefore, law enforcement in this case must include the offenses created under the Copyright Act. Those are criminal offenses. And I agree that arrests should be made on people who have committed offenses under the Copyright Act. What we are not agreeable, and which can be subject for further discussion, is if the law enforcement sought by Kekobo and its licensees is support to carry out operations. There is a way in which the police carries out operations. And before any operation is carried out of involving the police, there is an operational order for that specific operation. First of all, there are the standing orders, which are general, how they operate. But if they are doing an operation, there must be an operation order with a commander, with the responsibilities, so that if anything happens there, because they are allowed by law to carry weapons, including deadly weapons, and extreme violence. They use violence sometimes to apprehend offenders depending on the resistance, the level of resistance. So the question which was asked by one of the lawyers from the CMOs, that why are we discussing MOUs and operational protocols for law enforcement? The answer is because it depends. If you are looking for an officer to arrest a single offender of violation of a copyright, one instance, you don't need an MOU, you don't need an operational protocol. But if you say, for example, you need the support of the National Police Service to carry out an operation in some section of town where you have a number of businesses which are violating the law, that is an operation. And an operation cannot go on without an operational order. And secondly, this is an operation like no other, because an ordinary operation would be an operation of the National Police Service officers alone. But now this is an operation involving other agencies who are not police officers. And that's what led to the withdrawal of this, because should anything happen, there must be some accountability. And therefore the discussion on MOUs and operation orders and an operation protocol will be prerequisite, a precondition, so that we know in this operation, so that we don't have officers arguing with each other. Oh, you know, this is our business. We've just called you to. So do what I said. I am the CMO ED. I direct you arrest this one. Okay? And you know now, and maybe the operation commander from the National Police Service, they have their own way of identifying the circumstances of arrest and so forth. So it's not as easy as that. We cannot unleash armed officers combined with civilian officers in an operation of multiple arrests and law enforcement without an operation order and SOPs in place. Number 4, a chair, is that the notion that we are enforcing owners of music productions and owners of royalties of intellectual property to collect debts is not true. We are actually enforcing the law, but now with the caveat which I have provided. Number 5 is the CMOs have asked for interim reliefs because they have targets to meet, and perhaps that is something that we could discuss, maybe not here, maybe after here, and see how, if it is possible, whatever they're asking to be supported and in what circumstances, because we cannot take any action until the assurances which I have said are given. Otherwise, we will be defeating the purpose, we'll be even undermining the decision of government and NPS to withdraw on the reasons which I gave earlier.